Dear Ms. Nemtsov, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this conference. This year marks the 80th anniversary of the infamous Munich Treaty between Hitler and the Western powers, which brought incredible misery over the Czech people to a degree hitherto unknown, and was the beginning of the violent end of democracy here in this country. I do not mention this because I believe that the present setback to the democratic culture in the West we see at the moment is even remotely similar to the perils of the 1930s and the totalitarian regimes of that day. But remembering could make us understand two important lessons that still can be vital to all of us who stand for the values of liberal democracy. First one is that freedom is not just an internal affair of individual states and the watchfulness of their citizens. The safety of democracy depends almost as much on the geopolitical environment. When NATO and the EU were extended to the West, we all believed that we finally had created a world as it was once envisaged by Woodrow Wilson, a safe place for democracy. We are not so sure about this anymore at the moment. Transnational liberal institutions are under fire these days, and we see that globalization has lost the common moral vision or common set of values it somehow seemed to have had after the fall of communism, and which were a vital part of globalization processes and institution building. China and of course Russia are now offering different narratives of globalization, competing with and often undermining the original vision of Western liberal globalization. In Europe, Russia is, as we know, supporting forces that wish to destabilize the unity of the Western world and the progress of liberal democracy. This is why we must not be indifferent to the state of political affairs in Russia. Russia's geostrategic anti-liberalism imposes enormous humanitarian costs on the Russian people and has become costly for all of us. The second lesson, which is the logical consequence of the first, is that those who defend and propagate liberal values must not let themselves put in a situation where they play against each other, just like the Western powers and the Czechoslovak Republic did in 1938, which made it easy for Hitler to divide and conquer. There has to be solidarity among those who stand up for freedom. This is, of course, not only an intergovernmental task or a task of the European Union, it's one of society itself. This is the reason why the Friedrich Naumann Foundation is working internationally for freedom, democracy, human rights and free trade with civil society and civil society organizations. Our mission is to create platforms for people around the globe in the name of liberal ideals. And that is why we, the Friedrich Naumann Foundation, right from the beginning, always and without hesitation supported the Boris Nemtsov Foundation and the annual Boris Nemtsov Forum to commemorate the brutal murder of Boris Nemtsov himself and to side with it in the struggle for a better and freer Russia. I'm happy, I must say, that this year's forum takes place in Prague, or better, even at the Foreign Ministry, which I assume is an act of recognition of our cause by the government, because this broadens the international scope of networking even further. Hence, I'm looking forward to another great opportunity for us to support the Nemtsov Foundation and the cause of freedom in Russia, I wish you all a most interesting and productive discussions today and, of course, tomorrow when we really do the hard job. I know we have some hard work in front of us, a lot of thinking to be done, and to find perhaps solutions or way out to the problems during the conference. But the goal is worth it, or to close with a quote from Boris Nemtsov, I believe that Russia has a chance to be free, has a chance. It's difficult, but we must do it. Thank you.
Thank you.